Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Brenda Mahoney. Thanks for joining us. In this edition of APN, a soldier comes home 65 years later.
Reason who?
Arlington pays tribute as his remains are escorted through town.
And the debate continues on the location of a medical marijuana dispensary in town. And Harry Potter fans rejoice, some of them. We speak to locals about J.K. Rowling's latest story in the franchise.
All that and more next. Stay with us. Local government is getting back to work as the summer winds down. The Arlington Redevelopment Board and Board of Selectmen both met separately in late August.
They took up opening a warrant for a special town meeting in October and whether a medical marijuana dispensary can open in Arlington. APN's Shaz Shahzadi joins us in the studio now with more. Shaz?
Thanks, Paul. Brenda. A medical marijuana dispensary is no closer to setting up shop in Arlington. After an hour-and-a-half meeting on August 22nd, the Redevelopment Board voted 4-0 to delay a decision on allowing a medical marijuana dispensary on Water Street. The ARB heard from citizens concerned about traffic, hours, and security. Some also questioned whether Robbins Library and other nearby facilities children frequent would fall under the state's 500-foot buffer law. The regulations prevent dispensaries from operating within proximity to schools, daycare centers, and buildings where children gather. The town is looking into whether that law would apply.
There's some questions that need to be answered, specifically the question of the actual process and order in which it's been conducted, Board of Health permit, state permitting. Before we move on to any other public comment or before this board's prepared to take a vote, I think we need to see the security and safety plan, to see a breakdown of how staff will be hired. I think that the hours of operation are a significant concern, and I think there's some discrepancy between the number of visitors and vehicles per day. I'm also personally concerned about having sensitive vehicles in an underground parking garage.
The next meeting of the Redevelopment Board is set for September 12th. In a meeting on August 22nd, the Arlington Board of Selectmen called for a special town meeting on October 19th. Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine said that the appropriation of funds for the addition to Thompson Elementary School would be on the warrant. The town is waiting to get the school's final enrollment numbers before appropriating the funds. The 6th classroom addition to Thompson will be installed to deal with the school's growing population. Voters approved the addition with a debt exclusion ballot question in June. There would also be a potential warrant article for modulars to be placed at Ottoson Middle School. That would make room for students before the Gibbs School is ready for 6th graders in 2018. That's it for this edition of Arlington Snapshots. Back to you, Brenda.
A soldier who died a prisoner in the Korean War is honored in Arlington. Corporal Ronald Sparks' remains were recently identified through DNA testing and brought back to the region. Sparks was a 20-year-old Bronze Star recipient from Cambridge when he died in 1951. On Tuesday, August 16th, his remnants were escorted from Logan Airport and brought through Cambridge and on to Arlington, where the community came out in honor of his service.
Reason who?
The graves of young Americans surround the globe. One of those graves was a 19-year-old boy from Cambridge. His grave initially was in a miserable, cold prisoner of war camp in North Korea. Ron got at least a proper burial in South Korea, although only as an unknown soldier, and there he remained for decades.
Corporal Ronald Sparks was Bob Sparks' uncle, and when Bob Sparks' father left his son the dying wish of bringing his Uncle Sparky home, Bob Sparks got to work. With the help of several Department of Defense branches dedicated exclusively to locating fallen soldiers missing in action, and an 11-year-long search, Corporal Ronald Sparks was finally found.
Until the Army Past Conflicts Repatriations Branch and the Defense Department, POW, MIA, Accounting Command set up a state-of-the-art lab in Hawaii dedicated to identifying those fallen heroes. And so Ron's Long odyssey is over. I got the call just 2 months ago. It's a 100% match. We found him. My throat tightened, my eyes welled up, and I had to call back because I couldn't speak. It was such overwhelming joy that I just couldn't speak. I knew that 65 years after falling in the service of his country, 11 years after my dad asking me to find him, we found him.
Corporal Sparks' remains were picked up earlier this morning at Logan Airport and processed through the city. Its motorcade stopped at Cambridge City Hall, where a memorial reception was held in the corporal's honor. Now the motorcade has re-embarked, this time towards DeVito Funeral Home in Arlington. As the procession crosses into Arlington, Assistant News Director Brenda Mahoney will take the story from here.
I'm Brenda Mahoney at DeVito Funeral Home in Arlington, where the Patriot Guard riders have come out to honor Corporal Sparks, a veteran like some of them, not to be forgotten.
I think that all veterans need recognition. Our motto is standing for those who stood for us, and a mission like this, an attendance like this is the epitome of our motto.
Members of the Arlington Police and Fire Honor Guards standing at attention, a flag-waving youngster looking on as the military carried the casket of Corporal Sparks' remains to the funeral home, where family will reunite and say goodbye. The scene moving some to tears.
Just very heartwarming, it just brings back memories. All those that are still missing.
Arlington's a wonderful community, and I think as you probably saw up and down Massachusetts Avenue today, business people and residents line the sidewalks with flags. It's really a touching and moving experience.
Passing out buttons with Corporal Sparks in uniform, Arlington Services Director says reuniting the remains of a POW killed in the long-ago forgotten war is an honor.
We should honor everyone that serves. 0% or 0.4% of the population currently serve in the military, so it's a very small percentage. It's extremely important also to pay honors and respect to our fallen.
There comes to mind a saying. It was General MacArthur as he was relieved of his command of the Korean War. Old soldiers never die, they just fade away. But through science and family devotion, Corporal Sparks is back for all to remember. For Zach Merchant in Arlington Public News, Brenda Mahoney reporting. Well, it really was quite a sight to see and be a part of here on Mass Ave in Arlington. And as you saw, a lot of people did come out and were reminded of others who they've lost in other wars as well.
Right, Brenda. You know, they call the Korean War the forgotten war, but it's a tribute like this to help people remember that the war is not forgotten, and neither of those who have fallen. And when we come back, storefronts in Arlington Center remain empty. How a group of friends is urging the town to take action.
Plus, been to the farmers market? How senior citizens spurred the idea that has been bringing fresh produce to a parking lot for nearly 20 years now. Stay with APN. We'll be right back.
We invite you, your family, and friends to the 40th Arlington Town Day on Saturday, September 17th. Do your part to make this a celebration to remember. To learn about tax-deductible Town Day sponsorship opportunities, go to arlingtonma.gov/Town Day. Thank you for your continued support of Arlington Town Day.
Welcome back to Arlington Public News. Arlington Center is still seeing a lack of business moving in. In the past few months, CVS, Madrona Tree, and other shops have closed and have yet to be replaced. The town is talking to landlords to see when they may be filled, but it's a group of friends who've come together who have really gotten the ball rolling on making sure the center doesn't become too quiet. Here's more.
When Arlington residents Alyssa Clossy, Nicole Knobloch, and Jean Tift noticed an ominous increase in the number of empty storefronts in Arlington Center, the three friends resolved to form a group that would revitalize the commercial district. Today, Support Arlington Center has amassed a following of more than 1,200 residents, business owners, and visitors.
I had no idea if we'd get anybody, and there are people so passionate about this issue, and people who noticed too. It's right here in the absolute center of the center. And we appreciate so much the life that's here already. That was part of it too. That's just 90% of the center is working so beautifully, and then this 10%, it just didn't make sense.
The co-founders are disconcerted by the lack of progress in filling strips of empty properties which used to house beloved, vibrant local businesses. They worry the vacancies disparage the center and discourage tenants from moving in despite Arlington's recent economic success.
It's sort of a mystery to us as to why these are empty storefronts, and they've been this way for over 3 years.
It's such a loss of revenue.
Derby Farm, which was right in this corner right here, was a perfect location because they would put out flowers and very warm, welcoming garden type of objects that were right on the corner. And to lose that has been devastating.
The group reports that town officials who have met and are working closely with the 3 landlords responsible for the majority of the vacancies do not believe that the landlords are holding out for mixed-use development. Those meetings, they say, have been mostly productive.
2 of the landlords seem to be very interested in filling the spaces. One of them is looking for space that is not going to conflict with the existing spaces. Another landlord is also interested in filling the spaces, and supposedly there's a lot of people coming in and out of the empty storefronts.
Many business owners claim that expensive leases are the issue. Madrona Tree, a breakfast and lunch spot, recently closed, and the owner says a pricey rent forced them out of the space. Others, however, suggest that the situation is not so black and white.
We've heard that the rent is too high. Okay, well that doesn't exactly make sense if you apply it to common ground because we're still here, you know what I mean? So, and what is too high for rent? It's relative. It's just the same as how I price my menu. The menu items may be totally fine for one person, and then another person looks at it and says, that's too expensive. But it's the same product, do you know what I mean? So you kind of have to look at these storefronts the same way. We want to talk to landlords about, like, what do you want to see in Arlington Center? What's going to make you come out of your house and hang out in Arlington Center? So instead of just being like, let's get the landlords and lower prices, well, what if they lower the prices or they get businesses in here and you still don't go? Well, now we put all of our energy into the landlords, but then we see that may not even be the issue.
While collaborating with Support Arlington Center, town officials recognize the complicated reality and are investigating their options.
So what we've had our town council and his staff looking at is whether or not we can legally put in place a fine structure for property owners that have vacancies over the long term and cannot demonstrate a reasonableness standard that they've actually tried to get tenants. So we don't have a proposal yet. What town council's office has done so far is research what has been done in other states and municipalities, put together sort of a potential structure, and now we're going to work with that before we put a proposal forward, hopefully within the next month sometime.
Ultimately, Arlington residents want some answers, and Support Arlington Center is striving to provide them.
One of the reasons my wife and I moved to Arlington is that there's all these great stores around here. They're within easy walking distance, and so many of them are unique to Arlington Center. They're not big chains, and now there's big chunks being taken out. I was sure that other people cared. I'd talked to patrons of the stores and restaurants which have closed, and they'd also be very sad about it, but there didn't seem to be any organizing force. Now that I know there is, I'm gung-ho.
The public meeting will be in September or October. For more information, visit supportarlingtoncenter.org and join the Support Arlington Center Facebook group. For Arlington Public News, I'm Christina Gassford.
Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine told the Board of Selectmen at their August meeting that he would like to put a vacancy bylaw before town meeting members during October's special town meeting.
From fresh eggs and fish to locally grown Asian vegetables, the Arlington Farmers Market has it all. But on a recent trip, APN also discovered it's about more than just local food.
The Arlington Farmers Market started 19 years ago in the parking lot behind the Jefferson Cutter House with the idea of providing better access to fresh produce to the elder housing complexes around the area. The market was an immediate hit with Arlington residents.
The market was started by a guy named Oaks Plimpton and a woman named Pat. So Pat learned about Oaks, who was involved in another market, and so she got in touch with him and said, Oaks, you've got to start a farmer's market over here. And sure enough, he did. And Oaks had connections with farmers in the area. And so he reached out to them, and they were interested in coming.
Since the very beginning, this has been my spot. I don't think I've missed too many days, so we've been here from day one. I have one customer that comes here. I knew them while they were dating, they got married, they renovated a house, they have kids, and so their kids, I think, are 8 or 9 now.
You know, one of the things I hear people say that they like about the market is always running into people that you know and having a nice conversation. So I think of the market as kind of in the old days, people going to the village well. So I think the market has really a lot to offer to Arlington.
Apart from a meeting place, the market provides customers a chance to interact directly with the growers and learn more about the products they're buying.
We tell people the uglier the fruit, the less the less need to spray. So if they're willing to get a fruit that's not perfect, then they probably can say that it has been sprayed less.
This is the main one that I go to most of the time. For the past at least 12 years, I've had a farmers market tasting menu at Bistro 5 for a long time now, and also at Atavala as well. And mostly, at Kimball Farm, because they just have everything that we need. Everything's boxed up. In fact, you can see over there they have like 10, 12 boxes of produce to go to both restaurants.
While the drought in recent months has made the life of farmers more challenging, most of them have managed to keep their stalls stocked with fresh fruits and vegetables.
Well, it's definitely been work. Thank goodness we have several ponds and several wells. We have underground irrigation. So mainly it's been a manpower thing.
All our water holes are down. We're pumping from the wells. We have lost a couple of cornfields. Actually, we call our irrigation system the irritation system, because you're out there and it's hot. You're pulling lines all the time.
It's very hard. Especially the cucumbers, it's definitely taken a toll on them, make some funny shapes, a little bit more on the bitter side. It's been pretty difficult.
With 20 vendors and then, being anchored by the number of farms we have, I think we have a good balance. You have some competition, but not so much that each farm doesn't make a good day's pay.
Among their vendors, there's a handmade soap and lotion stall and an organic farm. Check them out. Arlington Farmers Market is open every Wednesday at 2 and goes until the last Wednesday in October. I'm Shasa Jati, Arlington Public News.
I think the farmers market is one of the best things about Arlington, Brenda. I've been going ever since it started about 20 years ago, and it's really, really grown, and it's still popular all these years later.
I know. I can't believe it's been actually around that long, but it was one of the first ones in the area, I believe. So, very good to still have it around. Well, coming up after the break on Arlington Public News, it's been a hot one. How are you handling this record-breaking summer heat? We hear of the different ways people are coping next.
Plus, a photographer who looks through the lens at families with a sense of history in mind. Stay with us.
Is your dog A-Town's top dog? Prove it! The Arlington Town Night 2016 Dog Show is looking for the best in show. Register at 5:30 p.m. for the 6 o'clock show at Spy Pond Field on Town Night, Friday, September 16th. Join Master of Dog Ceremonies, Mr. Glenn Doyle, and his celebrity judges who will present ribbons, prizes, and trophies to your pooch. In-kind sponsorship provided by Unleashed Burlington.
Is the Spy Pond Field the one across from the Boys and Girls Club?
Yes, it is.
Welcome back to Arlington Public News. Harry Potter is back. Well, not quite. J.K. Rowling and playwrights Jack Thorne and John Tiffany have written a new play, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. This new play picks up 19 years after the Battle of Hogwarts. Although not one of the series, it has certainly started a Harry Potter buzz in town.
Years after the release of the last Harry Potter book, J.K. Rowling now has a new Harry Potter story, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Currently a play in London, the script has also been published to reach a broader audience for Harry Potter fans all over the world. Does it hold up? Let's find out. To celebrate the 8th Harry Potter story, the Book Rec store in Arlington held a midnight Harry Potter-themed release party at the Regent Theater on July 30th. 150 Arlingtonians attended the magical evening to be the first to get their hands on the book.
We knew we wanted the magician because, wizardry is, of course, the central
piece of it. And we had a really cool green screen photo booth, so you could get your photo taken on the, like looking in front of the Hogwarts Express, in front of Hogwarts Castle. We also had some butter beer, which we have a little bit left in the store, and some birdie bots. And it was great. I think people had a lot of fun.
Completely different. It's nothing like J.K. Rowling, what she used to have. But it's different. I like it being so different, and it's still being Harry Potter. And you still have the feeling of like Ron. He's still funny. He still cracks jokes.
The new book has inspired other businesses in town to have Harry Potter-themed events of their own. The Robbins Library hosts a summer-long reading program for teens every year. This year, the Hogwarts Summer Challenge has attracted 95 teens, making it their most successful teen summer reading ever. Teen Services librarian Amy Valet thinks the theme this year is the main reason for their success.
The basics of how it works is teens sign up. They automatically get a raffle ticket to win many of the prizes we have on display in the library. And how the challenge works is you sign up, and then you can do a sorting hat quiz to get like a bonus raffle ticket, and it's pretty short. So then you can be sorted into your house. And then the Hogwarts course schedule, this is kind of our log. So instead of a traditional log where you like record all your books, which you can do, we're happy to do that, but it's based on like courses. So History of Magic is one of them, and you can read any nonfiction book, and then you get a raffle ticket for completing that. Traditionally, it's really been a lot of like 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, but this year we're actually getting a fair amount of like 9th, even 12th grade students who just really love Harry Potter and they want to be part of it.
While the new book has sparked new interest in the Harry Potter series, some businesses such as Common Ground Bar and Grill have been doing a Harry Potter-themed trivia all along. Common Ground owner says the support for the Harry Potter trivia has been growing every year, even before the new book came out.
I've loved Harry Potter ever since it came out in the U.S. I have a Dark Mark tattoo. It's, something I'm extremely passionate about.
Are you reading the novel?
No, I haven't. It exists. It's not something that I'm like super into because it's not 100% by J.K. Rowling.
I thought it was really fun. There was a lot of good questions. Yeah, I had Googled before like Harry Potter trivia questions and answers, and none of them were on there. So I think if I saw the play in person, I might like it as much as I like the original series.
I would definitely say I'm not as excited as I was when new books in the series were coming out, but it is pretty exciting that there's like something that is coming out, something new.
People in Arlington seem to be enjoying the 8th Harry Potter story. I just got my own copy. I'll find out for myself. I'm Shah Sajadi, Arlington Public News.
A local photographer gives us her perspective on preserving family memories. Myra Whiting was recently ranked 5th on Boston's A-List, a voting website sponsored by a local TV station. APN has more on what drives her passion for portraits.
Hello and welcome. My name is Mahati Atharya, and today I'm joined by Myra Whiting. She's the owner of Myra Whiting Photography and was recently listed 5th out of 24 photography companies on the Boston A-List. So what kind of services does Myra Whiting Photography offer?
I offer the full range of portrait services.
On your website, you mentioned that you come from a different background than most people in photography. So can you tell us about your education and why you chose photography?
My bachelor's degree is in history, but I feel like my background in history really gives me a unique perspective. I really feel like it's really important to preserve our family's histories and our sense of who we are today. That's one of the real driving forces behind my business, and it really helps guide all of my business practices.
How has your photography style changed over time?
I really mostly worked in black and white, and I still have a deep love for black and white photography, but I do a lot more in color now. It's really a big change from hobbyist to professional. As a hobbyist, you're really purely working for yourself. As a professional, I really work hard to think about what does my client really need and what do they really want to preserve.
Can you tell us about some of your most interesting and favorite shoots over the past few years?
Actually, my most recent session was one of my favorites. I drove up to New Hampshire to do a family session for a family who had a daughter who just turned 1. The weather forecast had been very iffy for the few days beforehand. As I'm driving north on Route 3, the heavens open. Oh. It's just torrential downpours. We'd planned to meet outside. We can always go to their home instead. But then just as the session was supposed to start, it stopped raining. And it was just a beautiful session.
What about photography keeps you going?
You know, if I'm in a situation where we were supposed to have cloud cover and all of a sudden it's blazing sun, and so I have to sort of think on the fly and change things around, and I love just sort of having to think on my feet and figure it out and make it work.
What advice would you give to aspiring photographers?
My big advice would be to never stop learning. I am always showing my images to fellow photographers and really trying to take to heart the constructive criticism that I get to improve next time. The other big piece is that if you do want to do it professionally, that the business piece is almost a bigger part than the creative piece. And so really understanding how to run a business that can sustain itself over time is sometimes underestimated.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Mahati Atreya for Arlington Public News.
This summer has been a record setter with heat waves and drought. According to NASA and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, July was 1.57 degrees above the 20th century average across the globe, surpassing the previous record high just set in July 2015. So, how have people been beating this heat? Volunteer producer Julia Bloom has some answers in this week's You Speak.
Hi, this is Julia Bloom in Arlington Heights. This July has been the hottest month in 136 years of record keeping. We set out on the street today to find out how Arlingtonians are handling the heat.
With great reluctance, but accommodation.
You know, it's been okay. I'm usually not a huge fan of air conditioning, but you know, got to put all those air conditioners in the windows and keep them running. Trying when the humidity's down to open the windows. It's been pretty tough this year.
It's been a little rough because I'm a lifeguard, so I work outdoors like all day, pretty much every day, and we have very little fans and sometimes no shade too, especially when the sun's coming and the umbrella doesn't always get over us, so it's a little bit rough sometimes.
So nice that we're finally getting some relief. The humidity has gone down. I refuse to put, or not refused rather, I don't have air conditioning on my bottom floor.
Oh, gosh.
But I don't want to contribute to the problem either, so I'm still holding out. But it's been tough. How about you? How have you been handling it?
It's been a hot one. I mean, I live on the second floor. I only have air conditioner in my bedroom. But you know what? Even though the heat's bad, I still prefer it to the cold of winter. I just don't like the cold.
Not ready to go that far and say, give me winter instead. All right. Well, thank you for joining Arlington Public News as we explore events and issues affecting Arlington. Check out extended interviews and our latest segments on the web at news.acmi.tv.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Arlington Public. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Brenda Mahoney. Thanks for joining us.